Well, I'd like to welcome our listeners. You're here with Dr. Angus Pike, the current president of the Victorian branch of the CAA, and I have the absolute great pleasure of being here with Dr. Rosemary Keating. So we're lucky enough to have Rosemary coming down for our mid-year meeting, our Inspiring Change Mark II. So for those of you that were there last year, we got great reviews, and I'm absolutely certain that this year is going to be bigger and better in literally every way. So Rosemary, welcome.
Thank you, Angus. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm delighted to have been asked to come down, and I very much look forward to coming to Victoria.
Yeah, our lineup is extraordinary. We have, not by design, but we have three fantastic, incredibly powerful, wise women that will be kind of presenting on throughout the day. So for those people that have been kind of hiding under a rock and don't know some of your wonderful background, can you give us kind of a thumbnail of what's kind of brought you up until now?
Absolutely. I came to chiropractic when I was 17, and my family had been going for a while, and it made such an incredible difference in my life and how I felt that I decided to become a chiropractor. And it has been a phenomenal journey over the last 20 plus years. I started out in practice not really knowing, I think as many of us start out, not really knowing, having an idea about what I was doing because I was well trained. However, I had absolutely zero communication skills. And there was a couple of things that influenced me greatly in those first few years with respect to communication and with respect to developing myself as a person. And one of those very much was NLP. And I went on to do a master's in chiropractic paediatrics, and I'm currently now doing the CAAV Diplomat in Neurology, on a constant quest, I think, to improve not only my skill base but also my understanding of how it is that we work. And over the years it became, or very early in practice, it became incredibly obvious to me that we needed to be really artful in what it is that we did. We needed to be highly skilled and highly trained, and that it was about perfecting our art. But very much it was about who we were as a person and who we brought to the adjustment, and who we brought, indeed, how we showed up, if you like, in our own life. And so that's been a journey, and I think I've gone from being somebody who was scared to speak to people to being able, I guess, to be able to communicate in a different way, very different now to how it was 20 years ago. So it's been a journey.
And you spend a fair amount of time now also coaching chiropractors. You do a lot of work with Quest as well, yeah?
Yes, I do. Yes, I'm fortunate enough to be able to work with Quest Chiropractic Coaching, and that's an incredible opportunity to facilitate change in others and to coach around skill development, around communication styles, around... Part of what it is that we do with respect to that is it's really allow people to uncover and rediscover their own self and their own sense of authenticity, their own sense of how is it that they would love to bring their own practice alive and bring themselves into the adjustment. I think it's been a great opportunity to work with people within that.
Yeah. You and I were chatting just before we started recording this about our love of being introverts, and it reminded me as somebody in my headspace who, thought that all I needed to be a really great chiropractor was to be a wonderful technician. That I had the skills to find a subluxation and correct it. And then I remember the heartfelt disappointment when I realised that I was actually dealing with people. And I don't mean that, but what it meant is that I had to develop skills as a communicator, that side of things too. And that's a lot that you're going to be talking about as well throughout the day, yeah?
Absolutely, Angus, and you bring home a very important point, because we think it is about being able to adjust an L5 or a C2 or whatever it is. And it's interesting because I was speaking with a chef recently, and he said when he started in business, he thought that it was all about the food. And he realised that as he's grown in his profession, that it's actually about the communication. And I realised that no matter who it is that we are, in whatever profession we're in, when we deal with people, it's about dealing with people. And it's about being able to communicate, to connect with our hearts, our minds, our souls, if you like, but being able to really connect in with a person, to understand them and to get a sense of who it is that they are, and then to be able to move them to where it is that they would like to go, even if they don't know that that's where it is possible yet. And I think that's what we do within chiropractic. That's certainly what we do within coaching is, if you like, wake people up to themselves. And so we communicate so much, not only by our skill in our adjusting and not only by our how it is that we look, how it is that we breathe, but very much about the essence of our energy, about what we communicate. And so the communication is there's certain structure. So it can be a certain structure and an outline of some great communication skills and tips. Mm-hmm. And it's also very much about the development of ourselves and our comfort with ourselves and our capacity then to be comfortable with ourselves and then comfortable with others in communicating and connecting. And, we talk about it. People have talked about it in chiropractic for as long as chiropractic has been around. The presence, the capacity to be present with people when we're with them, to be able to connect in. And so I will be talking about communication. And, it won't necessarily be there will be certainly some structure in it. And it will also be looking at how do we connect in with ourselves in order to then be able to communicate as well.
Great. So in a kind of nutshell, what are two really fantastic take-homes that each of our audience, and I've put you on the spot here just from the look there, if only they could see with the recording here as well. So what are a couple of really strong take-homes that you think that people are going to get from spending some time with you?
The great question, Angus. Essentially, a capacity to understand themselves more, understand what it is that makes them tick, and in addition to that, the more it is that we understand ourselves, the more it is that we understand others. Yeah. So they will very much have an expanded model, and there are many highly qualified people within the profession who are brilliant communicators. And in fact, we're all great communicators, otherwise we essentially wouldn't be doing what it is that we're doing. So there will be keys around understanding oneself even more, and I think an expanded view about what communication actually is. So all that they bring to it, plus some very specifics around some structure around communication as well.
And your talk is going to be powerful and important regardless of what someone's scope of practice is. So, whichever end of chiropractic that you want to work in, and they are all fantastic, we still need to be great communicators. We have an absolute love and passion to fix people's back pains, which is just a great intention if that's what you want to do. If somebody else, then it's important that you be able to communicate how you go about that too. And so I want to invite our listeners to understand that wherever their scope of practice is that communication is still a wonderful platform to leap from.
Well, it's essential. It's absolutely essential. And so that is communication with ourselves, communication with our partners, communication with our team, communication with our clients or our practice members. The capacity to be able to commune. And I say commune because that's what communication is. It's the capacity to be able to commune. And so it's the technique style or the wherever we sit on a philosophical realm is irrelevant when it comes to communicating. It's about how do we actually commune with somebody else and allow it to be an experience that adds rather than takes away from.
Well, Rosemary, I want to thank you for your passion and for sharing your time with us, not only just today, but certainly, we've already begun to talk about the effort that you're putting into the presentation from there as well. And for our listeners to spend some time with Rosemary, if you haven't already, and many of you will know the wonderful work that she does with her sister Genevieve through Inspira, which is just stunning. So if you haven't checked that out, then please check that out also. But to be and share some time, some community to break bread to kind of keep that same thought going with Rosemary on that day is going to be a privilege. So I'd like to invite all of you along to be a part of that as well. So I'm looking forward. So April 2nd is the date for it there as well. So we still have some registration spots all open. And Rosemary, I look forward to seeing the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Angus. I very much look forward to being there. Thank you.